minutes of the general meeting of the 18th of October. I propose, and do I have a seconder for those minutes? Thanks, Ed. We do have reports to do, but as I've got David Creas here, who does have a microphone so that we can record his very informed comments, I'll go straight to Dave, and he'll give an update on the latest legal and legislative issues which he is currently aware of. Thank you very much.
Okay, pleasure, Chris. Good afternoon, everybody. Different venue to the usual, and can I say that the reason I'm so cosy with Chris tonight is because I've got the microphone. It's not because he needs protection or anything. There's nothing going on, I can assure you. We haven't been to dancing lessons or anything. It's just that's the reason. I've got the mic. Okay, so that's it. So look, let me start, I guess, appropriately for the season, telling you a bit of a lawyer Christmas joke. We're in a hotel. Last Christmas, there was in the Hilton Hotel, not this one, Hilton Hotel, coming down in the lift, there was an honest politician, a generous lawyer, and Santa Claus, and they approached the bottom of the down to the ground floor, and there was a $100 note. They noticed a $100 note on the floor of the lift. So the question is, well, which one of them picked up the $100 note? And of course the answer is it was Santa Claus, because the other two don't exist. So moving on from that, I can tell you that at Bardia Perry we are all honest lawyers, and a little bit of a plug. I'm very pleased and thank you for the invitation to bring along a couple of my colleagues, Ben Hardy and Vivian Botsikis, who both work with me at Bardia's. So please have a chat to them later on when we've finished. We won't be terribly long, I'm sure, but they're keen to meet you, and I can tell you they are great people and good lawyers, more importantly. So in terms of what's happening in the legal world, well, you know, we're getting towards Christmas, so the Parliament's shutting down. They're all off having their Christmas parties. Not a lot happens in the regulatory sphere around this time, but there are a lot of judges who are desperate to get their judgments out before the Christmas break, because judges have a fairly long Christmas break. So one of the judgments that's come out is a matter that involves building and pest inspection. So it's the old story. It's the very quick building and pest inspection that's required, because what have the clients done? The clients have exchanged contracts. They're in the cooling off period. They haven't done their inspection beforehand, so they go to the solicitor and they say, we need a building and pest inspection. Solicitor recommends someone to come along and do it, and along he comes. So this is a case. Now, Ed warned me not to read, but I'm sorry, I have to do a little bit of reference, Ed, so I won't stick it up in front of my face. So, I always take direction from you. So this is a case of Alexandru and Pacific Pest Control. It involves a house down in Punchbowl, and Mr. and Mrs. Alexandru on the 12th of December 2013, so just before Christmas rush, never do things in a rush. They exchanged contracts on this property down in Punchbowl, which they were going to do some renovations to, but nonetheless they wanted a building and pest inspection. So in the cooling off period, went to the lawyer. Lawyer got someone. So the cooling off period ended on the 19th of December. The building and pest inspector went along on the 16th of December, did the inspection on the 16th, produced his 58-page report on the 16th of December. The saving grace, well, it ended up being his saving grace, was that it was clearly stated that it was a visual inspection only, so non-invasive, visual only. So he did his inspection, and part of the results were in the summary, the overall, were in terms of major defects. He said the incidence of major defects in this residential building, as compared with similar buildings, is high. The overall condition of this dwelling, in the context of its age, type, general expectations of similar properties, is below average. Termites. Importantly, he said, neither active termites nor termite workings or damage were found. Again, note, this is a visual inspection only. So, Mr. and Mrs. Alexandru, who were intending to go ahead and do some renovations anyway, fix it up, they wanted to spend $45,000, that was their budget. What they were expecting to get for their $45,000 was removal of carpet, repainting, installation of new light fittings and fitting of new blinds, and that was what they thought they would need to fix this place up, notwithstanding what had been in the inspection report. They went ahead and bought it. Well, so they settled on the 24th of January 2014. On that afternoon, eager to get in there, Mr. Alexandru went out there with his father-in-law to start looking around. Okay, what are we going to do? This is what we need to do. How are we going to do it? How long is it going to take? As the transcript says, at around that time, my father-in-law, Giorgio, arrived to assist. I showed him around the house, and as I was leaning on the windowsill in the main bedroom with my left hand, it crumbled, and termites started spewing out of the hole. This shocked both myself and and my father-in-law. I immediately telephoned my wife and advised her of the termite discovery. Doesn't say what his wife said over the phone. Probably not surprisingly. So there was a problem, and the problem only got worse when they got somebody else in to come and have a look at it. And there were not only termites in the sill, there were termites in the roof. It was all over the place. So they did the obvious thing. And they sued the poor old pest and building inspector, who they rang him first the next day, and what was his response? I'm on holiday. I'm on holiday. After the long weekend, I'll come down and have a look. Don't disturb the termites in the bedroom. Move to another room to start your renovations. In due course, of course, the owners did move to another room to start their renovations, using a screwdriver to remove a door. He pushed his screwdriver into the architrave. He noticed a 2 centimetre gap in the wall lining. He was able to easily pull away the bathroom wall lining panels, and when he did so, it was apparent that the studs and noggins were significantly termite damaged. He then accessed the roof void through the manhole in the bathroom, and where he saw what he described as mud tracks, and after further investigation, I saw termites eating the wood on the roof. So this was a pretty poor property. You no doubt, or as you would expect, when the building and pest inspector who'd done the original report did turn up after his holiday, there was a bit of a verbal stoush, and he promptly left. So they went and saw their solicitor. They sued the poor old pest inspector, and their problem was that what they had to sue him over was, well, you should have seen evidence of this termite infestation when you did your report. Now, the difficulty for them was that they hadn't noticed anything. The only other person who'd inspected at the time was the inspector. They only then had the photographs and whatever else they took and their visual inspections about 6 or 8 weeks later. So their case was that much damage and these active termites must have been in the place 6 or 8 weeks beforehand when the inspector did his inspection, and it should have been, you should infer, they asked the court to infer that it would have been obvious, that there would have been signs that an experienced, competent, reasonably skilled building inspector would have noticed. Well, the judge wasn't prepared to accept that. He said there's no direct evidence of visual signs, and of course the homeowners couldn't say that they saw something because then they would have been alerted. They had to say, well, we didn't notice anything. So the evidence in the case was that 6 or 8 weeks beforehand, nobody noticed anything. The plaintiffs weren't also able to get anyone to say, oh yes, well, if there's this much termite activity now 6 or 8 weeks later, there must have been something visual 6 or 8 weeks before. They weren't able to get that. And so the judge wasn't prepared to draw the inference that the inspector should have seen something. And the inspector was very firm in his evidence. He said no. He said no, it's not the case that there must have been something. He said his experience is that a termite infestation, a live one, can happen within the space of 6 weeks. And you might not notice it if you're only doing a visual inspection. So the judge accepted that, and the inspector got off on that basis. Now, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is don't do an inspection on very short notice. Don't do it, just do a visual inspection, because you can put all the disclaimers you like in there and you may well end up winning the court case. But how much time is it going to take you? How much money are you going to spend on legals? Okay, you've got your insurer, and it's pretty clear that the insurer represented this inspector. He's got his excess. His premiums are going to go up next year. So I know, you do things for different commercial reasons, and no doubt this inspector had a relationship with the solicitor and he was worried about losing that relationship with the solicitor. But I just implore you to think about it, and is it really worth doing that inspection for, this guy, it doesn't say, who knows, he probably charged 250, 300, 500 bucks. I'm sure you guys charge a proper fee, but nonetheless, is it really worth that to put yourself at risk, even if you will probably win the court case in the end? So that's my Christmas warning. Did they give Christmas warnings? That's my Christmas warning. The other one is make sure the chimney's unblocked so Santa can get down. And I guess I'll finish off two things. Firstly, saying thank you very much for having me during the year. I do enjoy coming out to Norwest and the breakfasts and learning from you guys, because there's nothing like, we can sit here as lawyers and say, okay, the law is this and this is how you should do it. But actually knowing what goes on out there at the coalface or at the termite face is very important and helps us give you good advice and good representation. So thank you. I'm very pleased to and very honoured to be the honorary solicitor for the society. Can I leave you with a bit of breaking news? Apparently the Supreme Court of the ACT has banned nativity scenes in Canberra this year. They've banned it because they had trouble, they just couldn't find 3 wise men or a virgin, but they were able to find plenty of asses for the stable. So, thank you. Chris? Oh, is this the...